Service entrance is that way, the doorman said apologetically, clearly following instructions from my stepmother Regina. Main doors are for event guests only. I nodded quietly, clutching my simple black purse as I walked around to the back of the Grand Plaza Hotel, one of New York's most prestigious venues and, unknown to my family, my most recent acquisition. The purchase documents had been finalized just hours ago, though the public announcement wasn't scheduled until 9 p.m. "Emily, darling, you actually came," Regina's voice dripped with false warmth as I finally made my way through the kitchen and into the ballroom where my father's 60th birthday celebration was underway. "Though you really should have mentioned you'd be attending." She emphasized the last word while eyeing my department store dress, a deliberate choice that fit the image they had of me, the unsuccessful daughter who just couldn't make it in the business world. My phone buzzed discreetly, final paperwork complete. The Grand Plaza Hotel chain ownership transfer recorded. Announcement prepared for 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. "I wouldn't miss Dad's birthday," I replied softly, accepting my seat assignment at a small table near the kitchen doors, far from the family's prominent position beneath the crystal chandeliers. "Still working at that little bookkeeping firm?" my stepbrother Richard asked, adjusting his Patek Philippe watch, purchased with the trust fund money that should have been split with me. "You know, I could always find you something entry-level at Sterling Investments." Sterling Investments, the company my father had handed to Richard while declaring me too soft for finance. The same company whose major clients had been quietly transferring their accounts to my firms for the past year. "The bookkeeping is steady work," I said, maintaining the careful facade I'd built over the past decade while assembling my hidden empire. Another message flashed on my phone. Sterling Investments client exodus reaching critical levels. Acquisition opportunity identified. "Emily's always been more suited to simpler work," Regina pronounced, her diamond necklace catching the light. "Not everyone has the business instinct, dear." I suppressed a smile, thinking of the morning's board meetings where I'd orchestrated the acquisition of 3 luxury hotel chains, including the Grand Plaza. My business instincts had built Phoenix Global Holdings into one of the world's largest private investment firms, all hidden behind layers of shell companies and discrete subsidiaries. "Remember when Emily thought she could run Sterling's international division?" Richard laughed, swirling his 30-year-old scotch. "Dad made the right call there. She couldn't even handle the junior analyst position." That junior analyst position had given me inside access to Sterling's weaknesses, information I'd used to systematically dismantle their international presence through strategic competitor acquisitions. "How's that studio apartment working out?" Regina inquired with practiced concern. "Still in that diverse neighborhood?" The studio apartment was a maintained fiction, just like my modest lifestyle and struggling career. My real residence occupied 3 floors of a building I owned on Park Avenue, though they still thought I lived in Queens. "I'm managing," I replied, checking another alert. "Hotel staff briefed on ownership change. Awaiting your signal for public announcement." "You really should let Richard help you with investments," Regina persisted. "Even a small portfolio would be better than living paycheck to paycheck." Richard nodded sagely, unaware that Phoenix Global Holdings controlled more assets than Sterling Investments had ever managed. "Start with something simple. Maybe some index funds?" My phone lit up again. Asian markets opening. Hotel chain acquisition creating significant buzz. Press requesting confirmation. "I'll think about it," I said mildly, watching the family that had banished me to the service entrance hold court in what was now my hotel. The same family that would soon learn that their unsuccessful daughter owned not just this venue, but a global portfolio of luxury properties and investment firms. "Did you at least take that financial literacy course I recommended?" Richard asked, drawing snickers from his socialite friends. "Basic budgeting could help you afford a better wardrobe." The basic budgeting I practiced involved overseeing trillion-dollar investment strategies and orchestrating international corporate acquisitions over breakfast. "Emily just needs to accept her limitations," Regina added, patting my hand with rehearsed sympathy. "We can't all be financial geniuses like Richard." My phone vibrated. Wall Street Journal front page secured. "Your photo and profile ready for tomorrow's edition." I thought about the empire I'd built while they assumed I was processing payroll in a back office. The global network of hotels, investment firms and real estate holdings, all operating under different names, all leading back to Phoenix Global Holdings and to me. The service entrance suits you, Richard smirked, straightening his bespoke suit. Keeps you connected to the real world, doesn't it? If he only knew that I own not just the hotel's service entrance, but every entrance to every luxury property in his social circle's rotation. The clubs where he flaunted his wealth, the restaurants where he held power lunches, the resorts where he planned vacations, all quietly acquired by my various holding companies. 9 p.m. approaches, my chief of operations texted. Hotel manager standing by for announcement. I looked around the opulent ballroom at Richard boasting about his latest power moves, at Regina orchestrating her social hierarchy, at my father basking in the success of his real business heir. In less than 30 minutes, they would learn that the daughter they'd relegated to the service entrance actually owned the entire building and much, much more. Proceed as planned, I texted back, settling in to watch the carefully constructed world of the Sterling family crumble from my perfect vantage point near the kitchen doors. At precisely 9 p.m., the Grand Plaza Hotel's manager approached the central podium, tapping gently on the microphone. The sound echoed through the ballroom, drawing attention from the gathered elite of New York's financial world. Ladies and gentlemen, he announced, his voice carrying a hint of carefully concealed excitement. As is tradition at the Grand Plaza, we'd like to take a moment to acknowledge our owner who is present here tonight. Richard straightened his tie, clearly assuming this was another opportunity to network with the hotel's wealthy ownership group. Regina adjusted her pearls, preparing her practiced social smile. It gives me great pleasure to announce that as of 3 p.m. today, the Grand Plaza Hotel chain, along with our sister properties worldwide, has been acquired by Phoenix Global Holdings. The first ripple of murmurs spread through the crowd. Phoenix Global Holdings was a name that inspired both awe and fear in financial circles. The mysterious conglomerate that had been systematically acquiring luxury properties and investment firms across the globe. And we are honored to have our new owner here with us tonight, the manager continued, his eyes finding mine. Ms. Emily Sterling, CEO of Phoenix Global Holdings. The champagne glass in Regina's hand shattered. This is a joke, Richard stammered, his Patek Philippe suddenly feeling like a child's toy watch. Emily does bookkeeping. She processes payroll. My executive assistant Catherine materialized beside me, carrying a sleek carbon fiber briefcase. Ms. Sterling, the acquisition documents you requested. Thank you, Catherine, I said, rising from my seat by the kitchen. I believe my family might want to review them. The ballroom had fallen into stunned silence, broken only by the sound of urgent whispers and frantically tapping phones as the city's financial elite realized that the woman they'd watched enter through the service door was actually one of the world's most powerful business leaders. But your apartment in Queens, Regina managed weakly, is part of a low-income housing initiative we're developing, I confirmed as Catherine distributed detailed portfolios to the family gathering. Phoenix Global Holdings believes in maintaining perspective. Something about using service entrances keeps one grounded. Richard was frantically scrolling through news alerts on his phone, each headline confirming his worst fears. Phoenix Global Holdings acquires Grand Plaza Hotel chain in $8.2 billion deal. Mysterio revealed. Emily Sterling steps into spotlight. Sterling family daughter behind year's biggest luxury acquisitions. The bookkeeping firm, he whispered, his face ashen. Sterling Financial Services. Is one of our smaller subsidiaries, I nodded. Excellent for gathering intelligence on potential acquisitions. It's amazing what people reveal to their accountants. Catherine continued distributing documents, comprehensive reports detailing Phoenix Global's holdings, including several properties and businesses my family frequently bragged about patronizing. The country club where you hold board meetings, I said to Richard, whose membership suddenly seemed far less exclusive, was acquired last month. Along with the private jet service you use, the yacht club where you dock your boat, and that secret wine cellar you're so proud of. The screens around the ballroom, meant for displaying birthday photos, now showed financial news networks breaking down Phoenix Global's emergence from the shadows. Market analysts were calculating the true scope of my empire, with numbers that made Sterling Investments look like a corner store operation. The financial literacy course, Regina said faintly, still staring at the portfolio in her hands. When Richard suggested, was actually developed by my team, I confirmed. We use it to identify investment opportunities. Your recommended basic budgeting spreadsheet? That's how we value acquisition targets. My phone buzzed continuously now, calls from CNBC, Bloomberg, Forbes, all wanting the first interview with the revealed CEO of Phoenix Global Holdings. The same business reporters who'd ignored me at Sterling events were now desperately vying for my attention. Your failed attempt at international finance, Richard said slowly, realization dawning in his eyes. When Dad said you couldn't handle it. Provided the perfect cover, I replied. While Sterling Investments was celebrating my departure, Phoenix Global was acquiring its international competitors. We now control 60% of the market you were trying to enter. The next hour transformed the lavish birthday celebration into an impromptu business symposium. CNBC had somehow gotten a camera crew in place, their headline banner reading, Phoenix Global CEO revealed, the servant's entrance to $1 trillion empire. Ms. Sterling, a Wall Street Journal reporter called out, sources say Phoenix Global is behind the recent luxury hotel consolidation across Asia and Europe. Can you confirm your ownership of the Ritz portfolio? All ongoing acquisitions remain confidential, I replied smoothly, watching Richard's complexion turn paler. The brother who'd mocked my international business acumen was just realizing I controlled most of the luxury properties he'd bragged about visiting. The investment advice, Regina whispered, still scrolling through Phoenix Global's holdings on her tablet. When you asked about mutual funds last Christmas. Was market research, I confirmed. Every time you laughed at my basic questions, I was identifying another acquisition target. Those simple concepts I pretended not to understand? Each one led to another multibillion-dollar transaction. Catherine approached with another set of documents, the complete organizational chart of my business empire. Hotels, investment firms, real estate holdings, all carefully structured under the Phoenix Global umbrella. Your credit card application, Richard said weakly, remembering last year's family dinner. When you got declined at Sterling Bank. Was at a bank I already owned, I nodded. Sometimes maintaining cover requires experiencing what regular people deal with. While you were mocking my poor credit, I was finalizing the purchase of the bank's parent company. My secure phone lit up with urgent messages. The World Economic Forum wanted me as their keynote speaker. The Business Roundtable was requesting emergency membership consideration. The Financial Times needed comments on my leadership philosophy. The networking events you banned me from, I said to Regina, whose social influence suddenly seemed microscopic, were actually quite productive. It's amazing what people reveal when they think they're talking to the help. The ballroom screens now displayed Phoenix Global's true reach. Luxury hotels, private clubs, exclusive resorts, all connected through a complex web of holding companies and strategic partnerships. Your apartment hunting last spring, Richard remembered suddenly, when you couldn't afford Manhattan, was a survey of potential acquisitions, I replied. While you were laughing at my budget constraints, I was buying entire buildings, including that penthouse you tried to purchase last month. The board that rejected you? Reports to me. Catherine distributed the next round of documents, detailed analyses of Phoenix Global's luxury portfolio, including properties the Sterling family frequented but could never afford to own. Starting tomorrow, I announced to the stunned room, Phoenix Global begins its comprehensive rebranding of the Grand Plaza Hotel chain. We're implementing a $30 billion renovation program, including some interesting changes to the entrance policy. My executive team continued circulating through the ballroom, distributing business cards and scheduling meetings with shell-shocked luxury industry executives who suddenly realized their ultimate boss had been using the service entrance. By the way, I added, watching Richard check his hotel membership cards that would soon be obsolete. That exclusive resort in the Maldives where you're planning your summer vacation? We acquired it this morning. I'm thinking of turning it into a marine research center. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't just buying their playground. It's transforming it into something meaningful while they scramble for new dinner party conversation topics. Your social club memberships, I said to Regina as her carefully cultivated network began gravitating toward my corner of the ballroom, might need revision. Phoenix Global has very different standards for access. We're especially interested in how people treat service entrance users. The next day's business press would call it the most spectacular revelation in luxury industry history. But it was more than that. It was proof that true power doesn't come from using the right entrance. It comes from owning all the entrances while others waste time guarding them. Catherine, I called out as we prepared for an emergency board meeting, please ensure everyone receives Phoenix Global's new guest policy handbook. Especially the chapter about judging people by their point of entry. Because the greatest success isn't about maintaining social hierarchies. It's about quietly building something revolutionary while they're too busy monitoring the door. Oh, and Richard? I turned back one final time. That secret wine cellar you love showing off to clients? I bought the vineyard that supplies it. Amazing what you can acquire while people think you can't afford the tasting menu. My secure phone buzzed again. Luxury brands requesting partnerships, hotel chains seeking mergers, real estate developers suddenly realizing who really controlled their market's future. The financial modeling course you said was too advanced for me, I said to Richard, who was still trying to process that his favorite hotels were now mine. Actually helped me value your favorite properties. Turns out they were all underpriced. As I walked toward my waiting executive team, I heard Regina's panicked voice. Call our social chairs. Call our club managers. Call anyone. But what she didn't know was that they all worked for me now. Every luxury venue, every exclusive club, every high-end service they might turn to was ultimately connected to Phoenix Global's network. Should we reveal the other acquisitions? Catherine asked as we entered my real transportation. Not a subway card, but a private elevator to the penthouse helipad. Not yet, I smiled, watching the family chaos unfold below. Let them wonder what else the service entrance user owns. After all, the Grand Plaza was just the beginning.